Hi, welcome back to Jim's Guitar Garage. On this episode, we're going to continue on with this Spalted Maple neck. If you saw the last video, we stained it, so this is what it looks like stained. So we're going to continue on with leveling and crowning the frets on this guitar. All right, let's get started. Okay, so here we are. We've got the neck up here. Here's some of the tools we're going to need. We've covered these in my past videos, but we'll just go over them again. Okay, so we've got our neck set up here. We're going to kind of go over a few of the tools, and then we're going to check this neck with this fret rocker. So obviously, one of the first tools you're going to need for this job is a fret rocker. You're going to need some kind of straight edge. This one happens to be a notched one. You can see right here there's notches for where your frets are. This one happens to be from Neck Check Guitar. Highly recommend them. The prices are really good. So this one has two different scales. I don't know if you can read this right here. Let's bring that up. So the bottom one is 24 3/4. The top is the Fender scale, so you've got the two scales here. If you've got a PRS, you're going to have to get another one, which I have several, but I usually just use a straight edge. This is your beveling tool. So this is what runs along the side over here if you've got really rough edges, and I've shown that in my video. We've also got these fret guards. So these you're going to actually use to go over the fret as we polish them. The previously mentioned fret rocker. So we'll kind of walk you through that, show you how to use that. We've also got these are Japanese made. I believe these are from StewMac. Quite a few of these items here are from StewMac. These are really good to have. They come in 5 different grits. Then you've got your fret crowning file. So this one I believe is also from StewMac, and I don't know how you can see that there, but you've got your material in there that actually takes it off, and this is what re-rounds the fret back over when you're done. This right here is from Fret Guru. They also make these straight edge. So Fret Guru, the nice thing I like about this, and I'm hoping you guys can make this out, is it has a nice non-marring, safe 2 edges, and then the other 2 edges are actually what files the ends of these. So if you can see the words Fret Guru, you know you're safe, or you can take the Fret Guru words, put them down, and you're gonna use this like that. The other thing, one of the other tools that I use, which happens to be one of my favorites right now, there's actually two different ones that I use, but these ones are great because they're a little bit bigger in size, and it's a little easier to a little bit easier to work with these. So take a look at this. These are from Amazon. Not even sure if there's a brand associated with them, but it has 4 different things. So it's got your step 1, which is this is actually a nail file, shorten, shape, then you've got smooth and polish. So I usually only use the last 2, or maybe the third. The shortened one, that is if you've got a seriously high fret. Other than that, I recommend you don't use that. Works good on your nails though. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to check. We'll go over with the fret rocker. Oh, the other extremely important tool you're going to need, which I forgot to get out, is some kind of marker. Some guys use blue, some guys use green. Doesn't really matter what color you want to use as long as you can see it and it works for you. So we're going to go over these. So we've already straightened out this neck with this. So you want to set it up. You're going to put the right scale length on. And then you want to make sure that you can't see, hold this up to the light. So you're going to hold it up to a light, and you don't want to be able to see any light underneath this. Obviously the ones that have these acrylic inlays on the neck, you're going to see some light through those just because of the acrylic, but you shouldn't be able to see light. So this one has been flat. I've let it sit actually for the last 3 days. I've adjusted it twice to make sure it's nice and flat. Double checked it. Waited a few days. I mean, obviously not everybody has that kind of time. So how this works, let me try and get you a little closer here. Okay, so now we're a little closer. So to use this fret rocker, there's a lot of videos out there on how to use these. Basically on your larger frets, your larger spans, you're going to use the longest edge. So what you want to do is you want to put it over two. As a matter of fact, they're already right here. We've already got, I don't know if you can hear that. But the second fret is high. We'll check it with the next edge. So what I do is I go along the whole fret from edge to edge. If it rocks along the whole fret, I mark the whole fret. And I just got a little bit on the fretboard. It's okay, that's why we have alcohol handy. So if you get a little bit on the edge of the fretboard, and you could tape it up before you do this if you're really worried about it, but I just use a little alcohol and it'll take that right off, and then we'll just remark it. Okay, so something good to have handy, some rubbing alcohol. Okay, so we'll let that dry. We know that that one's no good. Matter of fact, we'll just use the other side of the rag. We'll dry this off a little bit. So that fret, we're going to mark the whole fret. And then we just move down one fret. Okay, there's no rocking there. A little bit here. Okay, so this fret seems to be a little high. It's actually probably this one is low, so it's, you know, that's why the two on the other side are looking. And this is pretty much the whole way, so we're going to mark the whole thing. And what you're going to do is you keep going down, so I'm not going to bore you with the whole rest of this. As you work down closer, you know, you're going to rock this thing back and forth and listen for any, you know, that sound that you heard earlier. And as you move closer and closer, you know, you're going to go to the shorter and shorter edge, because you don't want, obviously you can't have a span like this going over these last few frets, because you're never going to hear anything. You're going over too many frets. So you want to do 3 frets at a time. And these all seem good. So I'm going to go over this whole thing, check it, we're going to mark it, and then we'll come back. Hopefully you guys can see the marks that I made. And then if we've only got a few high frets, we're just going to use probably these 2 tools to bring them down. If we've got a lot, then we're going to have to go to the other tool, which I did not mention. Let me go get that real quick. Okay. So the other tool we're going to need, and there's several ways to do this. I use these sanding blocks, and these sanding blocks are labeled on the end. This happens to be for a PRS, and my baby blue strat that we did, the sonic blue strat that we did, happens, I ordered a 10-inch neck for that, because I like the, you know, probably my favorites is a 10 and 12 inch. So this one is a 12. So basically all you do is you're going to take the tape, which this is all taped up. So I have this 3M 400 grit. You just tape it on there, overlap it a little bit on each edge, and you're just going to take that and run that along. That's if we've got a lot. If we've only got 3 or 4 high frets on this whole thing, we're just going to take care of those with the previously mentioned tools. If it's really bad, if we get 10 to 15 places, we're just going to do the whole thing, and then I'll walk you through that. Okay, so let me hit this thing with a fret rocker, and then we'll get back to you, and then we'll go over what we're going to do next. Okay, so we're back. So hopefully you guys can see this. I'll try to hold this up here for you. So you can see right here is marked, here is marked, here, here, here. Half of this fret, that section of this fret, this one, and this one. So because of this, this is a 22 fret neck. We've got, what is that, 10 spots that are marked. I am just going to go over this with a leveling block. Normally if there was like 5 to 6 spots or less, then I would just, do a spot level. But because of this, we're just going to do the whole thing. Once you get more than about 6 or 7 spots, to me it's just worth it to just do the whole thing, and it doesn't take that much effort, and doesn't really take that much more time. All right, so we'll get this thing set up. We're gonna have to put some tape on this number 12 here, and then we will get started. Okay, so we've got the sandpaper attached to our block, and then you could tape this off if you want. Most of the tools I have are safe, plus I have these fret guards, so I'm not going to worry too much about taping this off. And what you want to do is you can either have it on what they call a Caul, which is a more flatter one. It's a little harder with the Gibson kind of tilt back. If you've got a Gibson or Epiphone with that tilt back, it's going to be kind of hard to use the Cauls because it doesn't bring it up high enough. So I just use this StewMac rocker headrest, head support or whatever. So all you're going to do is you're just going to take this, and what you want to do is very lightly, you're not going to put much pressure, you're going to let the sandpaper do the work. You're just going to bring this back and forth, and you can kind of feel all that, you can hear all that noise, and that's because of all the high frets. So you just bring this back and forth, and you just watch that, all those areas that you marked. So when the last mark disappears, that means all your frets are level and they're all even with each other. So you're going to want to stop every once in a while, kind of inspect it, take a look, hold it under the light. And I even have a magnifying light right here. So I'll use this, put the magnifier on, take a look at it, see if all my high spots are gone. And you're only looking for the, you're not looking for the whole mark, because obviously you mark more than just the tip. So this one actually looks pretty good. So we'll just do a little bit more. There's a little bit right there. And then do a little bit more, and then we should be done. And then we'll start on the next step. Okay, welcome back. So what we did was we had all the high spots marked on here, sanded it down till those were gone, cleaned it off. So just use an old, beat up paintbrush or whatever. Went outside, brushed off all the metal shavings. Everything has been remarked, so hopefully you guys can see that. So again, just take your black marker. This one works way better than that other one. This is the Papermate W10, if you can find it, and I believe it comes in a bunch of different colors. So I marked everything. So now we're gonna go ahead. Isaac is here tonight, so we are gonna continue on with our sanding block here. We're going to continue on with the sanding block, and we're just going to sand this down until all the black disappears, and then we know all the frets are nice and level and all even. So go ahead, Isaac. Okay, so we're back. So go ahead, Isaac, show them what it looks like. So this is what your fretboard is probably going to look like. Hopefully you can see all that dust on there. So it looks like a lot, but I mean, we took off, you know, a pretty microscopic amount. I mean, probably, you know, a lot thinner than even this this fret guard, which is pretty thin. So we took maybe about that much material off. So we're going to go clean this up, and then we're going to start recrowning and refretting and refiling these. We're going to put that crown back, and then we're also going to clean up the edge over here. So we'll clean this up and we'll be right back. All right, so we're back. So we've taped up the taped off the fretboard. What we did is we remarked everything again with the black. So what we're doing is, you can kind of see we did the first one here just for demonstration. So hold on a sec, Isaac. So I'm hoping you guys can see that. Let me try and put a little bit more light on it maybe. So the first one is done. And what you want to do, and you can kind of see it on here, it's a little bit harder in this light, but you want to, where that arc is, you want a flat spot just barely on the top. So if this was your fret right here, you would want just the slightest flat spot, like right here, just right on the top, because you don't want to touch that because that's where you've already leveled it. So you're going to use this tool until you have that very, very fine line, and then you're just going to polish it up with one of these polishing emery board things. So hopefully you guys can make that out. Let me see if I can bring this light over a little bit, where you can see that first fret is like glass. The second one, so this one's already been polished and everything. So the second one, there's just a fine line. It's got a little bit more sanding to do, but it's almost a little bit more filing to do, I mean. And then we're just going to keep continuing on, and we're going to do that on every single one. And then all we do, once that is done, file this down, you get that fine line. You just go back and forth like this, just how you saw Isaac doing it. And then I start with the white on this. And this one obviously isn't done, but we'll just do that for demonstration. You just sand that a little bit, kind of get the edges. Flip it over to the pink side. Do that. You can hear all that noise just went away. Then you're going to go to the gray side, which is the polish, and polish that up. And hopefully you can make that out on camera. And all the other ones are still flat. Okay, so we're going to finish this up, and then we'll get back and we'll take care of these fret ends.